I could hide 'neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. My shaven razor's cold and it stings. Cheer up, sleepy Jean, oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? You once thought of me as a white knight on his steed. Now you know how happy I can be. Oh, and our good time starts and ends with $1 to spend. How much, baby, do we really need? Cheer up, sleepy Jean, oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean, oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean, oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean, oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shine. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And if you come shall hear, though soft you tread above me, and o'er my grave will warmer, sweeter be. Then you will kneel and whisper that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. Darling, I am growing old. Silver threads among the gold shine upon my brow today. Life is fading fast away, but my darling, you will be always young and fair to me. Yes, my darling, you will be always young and fair to me. When your hair is silver white and your cheeks no longer bright with the roses of the May, I will kiss your lips and say, oh, my darling, mine alone, alone. You have never old or grown. Yes, my darling, mine alone. You have never old or grown. Love can never more grow old. cheeks may fade and hollow grow, but the hearts that love will know that, my darling, you will be always young and fair to me. Yes, my darling, you will be always young and fair to me. Always young and fair to me. Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be you, O Mull of Kintyre. Far have I traveled, and much have I seen. Dark mist and mountain with valleys of green. Past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as you carry me home to the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be, O Mull of Kintyre. Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then. Nights when we sang like a heavenly choir of the life and the times of the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be you, O Mull of Kintyre. In the sunshine and tears in the rain, 'twill take me back where my memories remain. Flickering embers grow higher and higher as they carry me back to the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, all mist rolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be, O Mull of Kintyre.
gold on my finger. You brought love like I've never known.
You gave life to our children and to me a reason to go on. You're my bread when I'm hungry. You're my shelter from the troubled wind. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend.
When I need hope and inspiration, you're always strong when I'm tired and weak.
I could search this whole world over, you'd still be everything that I need. You're my bread when I'm hungry. You're my shelter from the troubled wind. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend. You're my bread when I'm hungry. You're my shelter from the troubled wind. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
I'm lonely, but only for you. No one but you do I dream of. No one that I ever knew touches me as perfectly as your love. An ocean may keep us apart, but you remain here in my heart. I'll wait for you, sad but true. I'm lonely, but only for you. for someone to hold. They know no others will do. I'm lonely, but only for you. An ocean may keep us apart, but you remain here in my heart. I'll wait for you, sad but true. I'm lonely, but only for you. Oh, the crystal chandeliers light up the paintings on your wall. The marble statuettes are standing stately in the hall. What will the timely crowd that had you laughing loud help you dry your tears when the new wears off of your crystal chandeliers? I never did fit in too well with the folks you knew, and it's plain to see that the likes of me don't fit with you. So you traded me for the gaiety of the well-to-do, and you turned away from the love I offered you. Oh, the crystal chandeliers light up the paintings on your wall. The marble statuettes are standing stately in the hall. What will the timely crowd that had you laughing loud help you dry your tears when the new wears off of your crystal chandeliers? I see your picture in the news most every day. You're the chosen girl of the social world, so the stories say. But a paper smile only lasts a while, then it fades away. And the love we knew will come home to you someday. Oh, the crystal chandeliers light up the paintings on your wall. The marble statuettes are standing stately in the hall. What will the timely crowd that had you laughing loud help you dry your tears when the new wears off of your crystal chandeliers? When the new wears off of your crystal chandeliers.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me, and I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. When times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out and on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. When darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl. Sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. If you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind by my side. When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand?
still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. And I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. And I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Oh, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
A legacy of stitches is what she leaves behind, the imprint of her very soul that lasts beyond our time. The heart that ball of wool knows, oh, so well the peace that can be found, as needle meets with wool, for there is no sweeter sound. Whether quiet piecing done by hand or on her sewing machine, there's rhythm in her stitches as she's sewed along each seam. Those stitches tell the story of her life as it unfolded, and as we think of the things that Betty made, with stories left untold. The humdrum of her daily life grows elegant and grand, where she starts to cut the pieces, then stitch the fabric with her hands. And whatever the reason is for the things she pieced and sewed, and whoever is the maker, there is one thing that we know. Each piece is full of memories and is a treasured thing. If they could talk, imagine how some would surely sing. For some were sown in happy times, and others when she was sad, and some were sown with laughter, and others when she was mad. Some are sown to warm us, and some were sown just for fun, and some are works in progress that never quite get done. Some were sown for beauty, something made just for show. But the heart of the true craftswoman is the one who really knows that no matter how it's stitched, we leave our mark in time. This legacy of stitches is what we leave behind. And what a legacy Betty has left. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. We have lost a special person from our lives, and that is why we are gathered here today in remembrance of Betty May Johnson. My name is Simon, and it's indeed my privilege to have been invited to lead this service today. If I could ask that we could just take a moment, for anyone who hasn't yet done so, to turn your mobile phone off or onto silent as your mark of respect for Betty, as this time today is hers. After our service here in the chapel has concluded, you're all warmly invited to join the family as we move next door to the Burney Lawn Cemetery for a short interment service. And following this, the family will be moving to the Yeoman Football Club at the Wivenhoe Showgrounds, and if you take the back entrance off Pearl Street, it'll all be open for you. It's here that you'll be able to enjoy a time of refreshment, and you can share your own memories of Betty with her family. When the death of someone of many years, and particularly if their health and their quality of life has been deteriorating, our grief is often one of quiet sadness, but grief it is. And it is evidence of your love and the expression of your love. Grief has many faces, and for each person it is different. I encourage you to be at peace with whatever expressions or emotions it draws forth, and for whatever time it takes, because it's the path towards healing. It is times such as this that we stop the onrush of our own lives, and we pause for a while, and we reflect upon a life of nearly 90 years. Betty was the devoted wife of Brian, loved mum and mother-in-law to Gary and Jill, to Chrissy and Colin, Annette and Mick, Julie and Rex, Rodney and Karen, Ricky, who's passed away, and Trent. Betty's the treasured grandmother, great-grandmother and great-great-grandmother, and there is quite a list, of Donna, Dwayne and Philip, Brittany, Mason, Brianna, Declan, Kayla, Monique and Liam, Chloe and Ellie, Hunter, Zayden, Isla, Ruby and Isabel. Albert, Christopher, who's deceased, Demelza and Anna, Jessica, Bryce, Jonty, Braden and Cohen, Jordan and Brooke. Shane, Craig deceased, Adam and Chrisandra, Blake and Heidi, Talia, Chelsea and Indy, Taylor and Jackson. Jodie, Rachel, Kylie and Kelly, Gracie, Dyson and Blade, Courtney, Taylor and Zach, Joseph, Georgia deceased, and Annabelle, Lachlan and Michaela. Aston, Cayman and Kyrone, Zaid, Nate and Kinley, Harper and Knox, Peyton and Nico, Sky and Anique and Arlo. Betty's a sister-in-law, an auntie and a friend. Family was so very important to Betty. She's always been there for you, strong and feisty, generous and caring, unique and devoted, your matriarch. She will be so very sadly missed for the colour that she's brought into your lives. You shared with me, Betty's family, of her great love of knitting, embroidery, cross-stitch and all things craft. I think of Betty, an idea growing in her mind, searching out a pattern, her hands taking hold of a simple ball of wool, some long needles, and the idea that she had took shape. But it was more than that. In her heart was love that needed expression for the welcoming of a new baby, or a warm jumper or beanie for a little person, perhaps a rug to ward off the cold. And just as she worked colour and texture and pattern into her craft, so she has into her greatest masterpiece, you, her family. Betty and her influence has been knit into your lives, not just by nature or genetics, but by her presence and her influence, which flowed from her character, her values and her love and her encouragement. You felt it in the smile that she gave you, when her eyes found you as you walked into her room through her door, where they rested upon you, or in the gifts that she made and she gave to you. She has knit you together with love, both individually and as a family, wanting you to display the beauty of who you are, each a unique and individual design, wanting you to be held secure so that you need not become unravelled or pulled out of shape by the struggles of life. And Betty remains with you, not just in the legacy of her works of her hands, but in the works of her heart and in the memories that you share with her. Allow yourselves to be wrapped in this love and to feel its warmth even still, and delight in it. Perhaps these are things that we had never thought of before. And so this coming together is important in this time of honouring and celebrating a life well lived. A place is made for remembering, for the expression of love, for the expression of grief and of gratitude. A place also for healing and reflecting on all that Betty has left behind, both in you and for you. Values instilled, examples to follow, and memories to delight and to inspire. When illness dominates the last part of a life, it's easy to forget that there was a younger time of vibrant energy, of a mind that was sharp, of all the quickness of her step, of words and conversation that did not falter, breath that did not labour, a personality that was colourful, for colourful it was. And not only did Betty work colour and pattern and design into those lives of those she loved, her life too was a rich and a colourful entity. Let us consider some of the threads of the story that was her life as we begin to share some stories. And so Betty May Hendricks was the eldest child born to John Benjamin and Veenie Christina Hendricks on the 10th of September 1931. She was followed by her siblings, Albert, better known as Abby, Marlene, Trevor, and finally Evelyn, better known as Bubby, completed the brood. Childhood started for Betty in Wivenhoe, and there are a couple of short stories to share here. Apparently, as a girl, Betty and co used to love running over the arches of the Emu River Bridge, and one of Betty's brothers even managed to get over the arch on a motorbike. And apparently on their way home from school, they used to find the biggest rocks that they could on the beach and swim across the Emu River, holding onto this rock until the rock either dragged them under or they ran out of breath. Whoever got the furthest across the river was the winner. Childhood came and went, and Betty met a young man by the name of Brian Johnson. They were married in St George's Church of England on November 25, 1950. It wasn't long then until Betty and Brian's children started to arrive. Gary first in 51, Chrissy in 53, Annette in 55, Julie in 58, Rodney in 61, Ricky in 62, and then a little break before Trent come along in 78. I was told that Betty started frantically knitting baby clothes in preparation for some grandchildren that were due to arrive, when in fact, and only she knew this, she was knitting for little Trent. Life progressed, and I'm guessing was pretty busy for Betty, having her first 6 children in 11 years. There wouldn't have been much quiet time for her. Betty devoted her life to raising her children, and she revelled in being the best mum that she could be. As I mentioned, Betty loved her craft work. She could turn her hand to almost anything. It was a talent that she loved to teach to others, her family and her grandchildren. And when she was a bit younger, even volunteering her time at Umina Park to teach and help the residents there. Betty loved football, it's probably no surprise to most of you, and in particular the Collingwood Magpies. Maybe she was a little bit one-eyed. She's passed this love of the game onto quite a few of her family, and some of them have even taken to backing her favourite team. When her own children had grown up and started families of their own, and the grandkids started to come along, was I think when Betty found her niche. She would travel all over the state to watch her family's sporting achievements. Football, soccer, BMX racing. Betty didn't mind, she was just so proud. It is now that I'd like to pause for a while and invite some of Betty's family to come forward and share their tributes. And so firstly I'd like to ask Amanda, who's going to share some memories from Betty's sister Bubby.
I hope I can get through this. Mum was asked if there was anything she wanted to say or contribute for today. She came to me and said, "I don't know what to say. I can't find the words. Can you find me one of those nice sister things at that online place where you always find the nice words to say?" So I looked at her and I said, "Yes, Mum, I can do that." But as I was reading through many of the sister love poems and quotes, I found that I didn't really understand the sentiments completely, because I only have brothers. I know exactly how to be a sister, but I was really struggling to comprehend what it means to have a sister. So that got me thinking. And this is what I discovered. A tale of 3 sisters, Betty, Marlene and Evelyn, or as you know her, Bubby. 3 things. 1, sharing. Sharing family, sharing friends, sharing interests, crafts and hobbies. Sharing joy and happiness, sometimes pain and sadness, maybe even anger and arguments at times, but always sharing love and laughter. Probably early on sharing a bedroom, maybe even clothes, possibly makeup, but definitely sharing hairspray and secrets. Ultimately, sharing friendship forever. 2, friendship. Knowing there's always someone to talk to, someone to count on, a shoulder to lean on when needed, or maybe even to cry. A partner in crime or an accessory after the fact. It doesn't matter how many days, weeks, months, maybe even years, you're just able to pick up and carry on. Best friends for life. Unconditional love. No matter when, no matter where, no matter how, no matter why, no matter who, no matter what. Just love. Family is where life begins and love never ends. Roots buried deep in love make the family tree grow strong. So there's always unconditional love. So a tale of 3 sisters, sharing, friendship and love. Betty, Marlene and Bubby. 3 loving, caring women who all raised amazing families, and you can see them all here today. 3 strong women who all lost their husbands far too early. 3 beautiful women who have shown me by their example, what it is like to have a sister. I think it's the same as what it's like to be a sister, but I imagine it's way better. A tale of three sisters, Betty, Marlene and Bubby. Only two remain. So the words, Mum, a million words could not bring you back. I know because I've tried. And neither does a million tears. I know because I've cried. I'd like to finish the words that I did eventually find in that online place for Mum. Google came through. I miss you. My mind knows you are in a better place now, where there is no more pain. You are at peace. And I understand that. I just wish I could explain it to my heart. There is an empty space in it that nothing will ever fill. I grieve, but I know that my tears are just for me. We will be together again. Until then, my love will always be with you. And the lengths that she'll go to get Trent in a Collingwood jumper.
And now grandson Cayman.
Nan, we thank you for the special memories that we've created over the years. We'll never forget coming around to your house on Grenville Street. You'd send us down to check the mailbox. We'd get excited, race down the driveway to see who could get there first, only to find a couple of catalogues half eaten by snails. It was at that point we realised we had to walk back up the bastard, and it always felt like a long way on our little legs. Remember when you first introduced us to Ozstar, now known as Foxtel? I'm pretty sure you're the first person in Burnie to ever have it connected. We'd be sitting back in your chair in the corner doing some knitting, little Rex beside you on the armrest, watching some terrible movie. We'd come in and argue over the Ozstar TV guide for 10 minutes just to see what kids' shows were on. You always let us change the channel without any fuss. We used to love Pop's chewing gum. He'd finish chewing it, roll it up into a ball and sit it somewhere while he went and had a smoke. We were too young for our own chewing gum, so we'd watch where he sat it, and then we'd steal it once he left the room. You'd get grumpy at him for doing it when us kids were about. You didn't get grumpy very often, though. Only other time that we can think is when we used to try and sneak into the end bedroom that was full of all your arts and crafts. You was always onto us. We remember hiding down the side of the house, searching for snails in all the old bricks, just to throw at each other and have snail races. And then we'd dare each other to see who would eat one first. I don't think anyone ever did. We remember the 8-ball table we had downstairs in the dungeon. We'd play rock, paper, scissors to see who had to go in first and get all the cobwebs out of the way. It didn't help that the light never worked, so it was always pitch black dark. We'd climb up onto the table and give the light a wiggle and away she'd go. We remember catching the bus from school, being dropped off at your house on the occasional Thursday afternoon. You'd run us to soccer training at Burnie and then come and collect us when it had finished. We'd get back to your house, we'd pull up in the driveway, and then one of us would have to get out and throw a wheel chock under the tyre. That bloody driveway, eh? And then it was inside to watch the footy show, and we always had a good night's sleep on your comfy eggshell mattress toppers you had on the beds. Last of all, we don't know whether to thank you or not for getting us hooked on these bloody magpies. We're having a crappy year at the moment, but I'm sure you'll be up there watching them and cheering them on as you do. We love you, Nan. We miss you dearly, but our memories will live on forever. Go Pies.
And now granddaughters Jodie and Rachel.
Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm determined to do it. Okay, dear Nan, well, where do I start? The memories that I can recall are limitless. From a young age, I have forever memories of climbing up behind you in your chair, brushing your hair, putting the rollers in, not very well, and then the brush getting stuck, and you having to work it back out again. And the back scratches. I used to love bingo nights. We would wait till almost dark and run to the front window and see if Auntie Janie had her porch light on to say that she was coming to bingo with us so we could pick her up. I got to do the old cards at bingo and thought I was in fact playing bingo myself. We didn't very often win, well not money, but we always had our cans of soft drink which you snuck in your basket with all your special markers and your table full of lollies. I also remember waiting for you and Pop to turn up at footy so I could jump in your car. You had the spoons in the glove box ready for us to take the lid off our pies and just eat the meat. Then you would sit and knit while Pop did the goal umpiring. Knitting was one of the skills that you taught me, and it's something I'll always treasure, as I can now knit for my own grandchildren. And I've taught my clients some basics as well, although I still can't read a pattern, and I wish you'd have taught me to crochet as well. That's one thing I just can't get. My love for all things crafty definitely was inspired by you, whether it be beads, paper, or some sort of new Christmas idea, and for that I thank you. After we shifted away, I still made sure every trip home I called in to see you. Sometimes a surprise, sometimes you knew. One particular trip, I said we'd go out for coffee, but no. You said you'd rather go to the top of the town for lunch and a poke. Off we went, ordered our lunch, got our $5 worth of bingo tickets from the machine. No luck for me, but you got a 50. I'm pretty sure you won on the pokies too. I donated. I ring Mum every Friday on my way home from work. It's an hour's drive from home, and I always ask how you were. Stop it. Just recently, Mum gave you photos of your brand new great-great-granddaughter Gracie. I always look forward to coming home and calling in, or Mum telling me you were coming to have Christmas with us. Last year was probably one of the best Christmas days we ever had at Mum and Dad's. All of us together, pretty sure we all showed our true colours. I'm sure you've never laughed so much at how stupid we all get when we're together. We had you rugged up in my beanie and a super plush blanket. Grant got you a side table out in the yard for your drink and your nibblies. You were there for the show, and what a show it was. I'm so glad that we got to spend such a memorable moment and stupid antics of the day with you. You even got a sideshow alley ride when we tried to navigate you up Mum's front steps in the wheelchair. Let's just say it was almost stacks on. Anyway, Nan, thanks for being such a huge part of not just my childhood, but also my adulthood. Your memories and lessons I will cherish forever. Give all my loved ones a special hug, especially our little Princess Georgia. If you can do it, so can I. You got it. You got it. I'm not a crafty one, but I did take on Nan's cooking skills. Of all the special gifts in life, however great or small, to have you as our Nan was the greatest gift of all. May the winds of love blow softly and whisper in your ear. We love and miss you, Nan, and wish that you were here. Deep in our hearts your life is kept, to love and cherish and not forget. No more tomorrows we can share, but yesterdays are always there. A silent thought, a secret tear, keeps your memory ever near, in our hearts forever.
And now a tribute from Jill that I will share. And Jill says, when most people think mother-in-law, there are quite a few things that quickly come to mind, and not all of them are flattering. Notions of a mother-in-law constantly meddling in a marriage or generally just making trouble is usually the norm. But this couldn't be further from the truth, because my mother-in-law was none of these things. Betty was a sweet, gentle woman. She welcomed me with open arms into her family, and I loved her. This past 14 months have been hard, racing to organise to get Betty out of the COVID-riddled hospital and settled into Yamina Park, only to discover that COVID had followed there anyway. I'm so very thankful that it was all capably handled and didn't get the chance to spread further amongst such vulnerable residents. My visiting time with Betty, while sometimes long and tiring, was well spent with lots of laughter and happiness, love and friendship, but also tears of sadness and long embraces. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Together we planned and we prepared for the worst, knowing that it would come eventually. We planned the music that would be used today, including the Collingwood theme song, hopefully the last time I'll ever have to hear it. I want to thank the Yamina Park carers and staff for their loving care of Betty in her time of residing in the court. While I don't feel ready to say goodbye, I know just how lucky I am to have known her, and I wouldn't wish for her to stay another day here in pain. I'm so very proud to have been able to call you my mother-in-law. I miss her dearly. Betty was a selfless woman, and I know she would ask us all to be selfless right now. Please remember to encourage and to support each other in her memory as we all attempt to figure out what life looks like without her. Rest in peace, Mum. It's never easy to put pen to paper, and indeed coming this side of the microphone. So thank you to everyone who shared those memories with us. I'm sure Betty would be proud. And a mention also now to Kylie, who has put together this amazing floral arrangement on Betty's coffin. While not necessarily a spoken tribute, it's still a tribute nonetheless. And also to our carriers today, to Dwayne, Adam, Aston, Cayman, Shane, Albert, Kyrone, Rachel and Sky. What an honour for you to all escort Betty on her most final of journeys. Perhaps carrying her can say thank you to Betty for everything that she has done for you. As Jill's tribute mentioned, Betty's health was declining, and so the decision was made for her to move into Yamina Park. She enjoyed her time here in Yamina, the craft activities, and she made some close friends, Betty Flanagan, Elaine Bryant and Josie Anderson, who only just recently passed away also. These women enjoyed a close friendship. Betty slipped quietly away last Friday morning, the 28th of May. She was surrounded by those she loved the most.
I said I'd go. I thought it so romantic, and I found you sweet and bold. Though we'd only met, I still said yes to a single yellow rose. And for years to come, you were the one to sleep with me at night, to laugh and talk ever see a yellow rose, but I don't think of you. It's still my favorite flower, though the yellows turn to blue. The day you left, my teardrops fell upon your farewell note. You said goodbye like you said hello, with a single yellow rose. Yellow roses, the color of sunshine. You loved me at one time. Why did you have to go? Yellow roses, are you sending your new love? My bright yellow rosebuds, I still love you so. Yellow roses, the color of sunshine. You loved me at one time. Why did you have to go? Yellow roses, are you sending your new love? My bright yellow rosebuds.
The time has come to say goodnight, for every road must end. To the ones who care and are always there, our very special friends. Let's say goodnight to those we love, and maybe shed a tear. But before we close, let's think of those we love who can't be here. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. And when it's time for us to go, and our long journey ends, we'll never be alone, you see. We'll be with absent friends. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. Let's raise our hands to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend. Our special absent friends.
And so we begin to close this chapter of Betty's life. For everything I learned about Betty, she was one of the world's living treasures. I often reflect as I hear about the lives of very ordinary people, the extraordinary impact that they have on those with whom they come in contact. To look at them, you probably wouldn't notice anything remarkable, but as you hear of their acts of kindness, you realise that their life in this world, in this community, and in this family leaves us all better people for having known her. To Betty's children and their partners, Gary and Jill, Chrissy and Colin, Annette and Mick, Julie and Rex, Rodney and Karen, and Trent, and indeed all of your families, we can trust that you will follow many of the examples of your mum's teachings and her life lessons. We all make mistakes, and she probably wasn't perfect because none of us are, but she did her best, and she lived for you. Remember her smiles, remember her laughter, and her gifts to help others. In any piece of craft work, there are woven bright colours and dark colours, warm colours and cool colours. Each give the other vibrancy, and each help to tell the story of a life. The dark threads of Betty's life would have been at the loss of the precious people from her life, her dearly loved husband Brian, and her son Ricky to an aneurysm at just 15, her parents, her brother, and I'm sure many others who have gone before. We can only imagine the joy of welcome and reunion when those arms reached for her and held her, upon her opening her eyes in that other place of which we know so little. Our service here in the chapel is drawing to a close, and soon we'll move next door to the Burney Lawn Cemetery, taking Betty to her final resting place, reuniting her with her beloved Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join me in saying the words of the Lord's Prayer. And we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpie's name. See the barrackers are shouting as all barrackers should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood. Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpie's name. See the barrackers are shouting as all barrackers should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood. Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpie's name. See the barrackers are shouting as all barrackers should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
free as old barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a